Sydney at this point?
Yeah, I think we got good news, excuse me, from both of their MRIs. As good a news as you can get, and so right now it's a day-to-day thing. We're looking forward to hopefully them, returning at some point sooner, rather than later. But at the same time, it's how each of them progresses in their rehab and in their return to the court action.
At least encouraging too to see Sydney on a bike and
Yeah.
whatever else she was able to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure. Sid's been progressing really quickly. She's going to get out there and get some shots up too. So we'll see where she sits when she comes back after her recovery from today. Make sure we don't have any setbacks, and then we'll see where she is tomorrow.
How about Damaris? We saw her just standing.
Yeah.
Is something there too?
Yeah, just a rest day. I think for Dee Dee, she's got a lot of miles on, and making sure she gets a little bit of rest. Had a little bit of soreness in her lower body, so don't want that to create or to turn into anything.
Sid, was that knee injury or like upper leg?
No, it's like upper leg.
And for
Area.
Silver, is that kind of re-aggravating her ankle injury, or was it something different?
Yeah, I believe so. That same ankle. Yeah.
What was it like over the last 24 hours? I'm sure you got with the front office
Yeah.
to discuss the short-term plan and the long-term plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's been trying to figure out all of our options. All of our options from, potential hardship contracts and players and who's available, and to how and with our coaches, really like how we reimagine, how we're using our players. So we've had a good opportunity in practice today to get a lot of different looks. We anticipate Washington coming with a lot of pressure, so we've got to have our bigs be able to bring the ball down the floor, initiate offense. What are the best things for us to get into? Getting back to the basics and simplifying.
For you, when you're thinking about a potential hardship player, are you valuing someone like knows the system, has been here, or is it maybe best player available at that position?
I think best player available at that position who can add value on both ends of the floor. Certainly we need to have someone who can add value on the defensive end. We got to have somebody who can help us navigate and get into offense, handle the ball. Since we're down to 2 healthy guards, the goal would be to get everybody kind of back to their natural positions if we can. But at the same time, we can't control everything, so we'll get the best player that we can get that will fit into how we want to play.
Do you anticipate signing a hardship player before Tuesday?
I hope so.
What does simplify mean in terms of with this group? Is that more so what you're calling out there and more read and react, or what does that mean?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit more calling and structure in our offense, a little less reading, so that we can kind of predetermine a little bit more. Maybe giving, 3 or 4 actions or sets that they can run, as opposed to giving them 6 or 7 options. So we simplify it that way, who's on the floor with whom, and then same thing defensively. We'd like to get to where we can cover different players different ways, but we're going to have some players playing out of position, so we've got to simplify it and just get really good at 1 or 2 things.
The one that talked about kind of not being in a rhythm after Friday's game. What do you do with all of those injuries and potentially bringing someone in to try to get into some semblance of rhythm?
I think the simplifying hopefully helps that, giving them just a couple of things that we can focus on, and we continue to really rep over the last 2 days on both ends of the floor, knowing that some players are going to be playing out of position and freeing them up to stay aggressive and just play. And that's the fun, challenging part of the coaching situation is, still putting them in positions to be successful while it might be a little bit outside their comfort zone.
So instrumental to what the Pacers have done. What was your reaction last night when they clinched and are moving on to the finals?
Thrilled. I think the feeling in the building was unanimous. It was just like we knew. I think there was a belief that this group has what it takes and had what it takes to close it out. But there were so many moments, as you're watching Herb Simon accept, the Eastern Conference title trophy, and from Reggie Miller, and 25 years ago we were watching before we played our first season as a franchise. So many moments, but I'm so happy for the group of players and the coaching staff. I've been with them a little bit, and happy for Kevin and Chad and the front office. So it's thrilling to be a part of that in the early days and see where we go from here.
What stands out to you about that makeup of that team, the unselfishness, all characteristics you guys targeted?
Yeah, that was the intention, right? Everybody was sort of handpicked, and we had opportunities to develop, Aaron Neesmith even further. And, I think the thread that ties everybody together is that they love, playing together. They really want to win for the team. I mean, this is the most unselfish group of athletes, male or female, I've ever been around, and they are all about each other and all about winning and about really, playing for each other. And it's an unbelievable kind of secret part of what they have in the locker room. And I think getting Pascal and bringing that championship experience, and he's such an unselfish player as well. He's a superstar, but he's unselfish. I think it ties together with the way Tyrese plays. So that is a common thread amongst that group.
And the defense, I mean, that's been the big conversation the last several years. Over the last several months, they put it together, and that's why they're where they are.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like last year, if we could just get better a little bit better, just keep moving up in the defensive ratings, that we have a chance. And I think, the coaching staff did a tremendous job. Players have bought in, and you saw what happens, when you really lock in. I mean, that's what you have to have in playoff series. I mean, you have to have lockdown defensive mentality, because we know this group can score. So that was on full display.
What stood out to you about the job Rick has done since he came in here to help transform the franchise at all levels?
I mean, Hall of Fame coach. He's such a great, just certainly X's and O's strategy, adjustments, and then his just kind of his way that he leads the team. He's a great leader in the locker room, and has these guys connected and tied together, and really is that's on full display with the way that using the bench and the belief that he has and empowers his players. It's really impressive to watch.
Do you try to use any of what they did at the beginning of the season, the slow start, the injuries piling up as something here?
Yeah, I mean, every team's different. Every year's different. I mean, every game is different. So I think you do this long enough, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And the year we won in 2012, we started the season 1-7, and we had a lot of ups and downs. I mean, every year is different. So I think you just try to find strength, and sort of pull in, this next day is a new opportunity. So I'm glad it's early in the season. We still have opportunities ahead of us. We have a long ways to go.
Just on the Fever side of things, for the last 1-2 days, been like kind of figuring out injuries, figuring out potential hard situations too.
Yeah, I mean, we're down in numbers, but we're looking at adding another player for a replacement player to help us with our numbers and try to get people healthy and try to get a full roster back together. I mean, games are still coming, so it's going to be an adjustment, but we have a good group. We have good depth, thankfully, so that should help us.
Are you hoping to have that player before Tuesday's game?
We're hoping, yeah.
Have you ever been through any circumstance this early into the season and such, where you're battling 3-4 down?
I'm trying to remember. I don't, probably, but I mean, because, the WNBA, I mean, the roster sizes are so much smaller. So when you get down to, you have 11-player roster and you lose 3 players like that, now you've got to add a quick player to your roster. So, it's something that you just deal with being in this league, with the roster sizes being a little bit smaller, and that's why you try to build for depth.
Is this maybe another perfect example of where the WNBA could get to, where they had, like the NBA has 2 ways, but maybe you call them player development roles and they could be available in times like this? Would that be ideal?
I mean, just more bodies would be good. Yeah.